John, hey, John, thanks for being with me.
My pleasure.
And sitting down and chatting with me. Let's start off with you chatting or talking about your partnership with NCBW.
Absolutely. I was brought to the table. It's a little late. My company, Enterprise Holdings, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We own and operate Enterprise Rent-A-Car National in Alamo. Recently, with all the things that were going on in the world with the George Floyd situation and others, the company made a big move, man. I remember, because I've been with the company over 30 years, right? And we've been trying to talk about diversity on and off for like the last 20, made some progress, but certainly not as much progress as we're making now. I remember when all the things came out and they were on TV, and you had some big companies that were hesitant to say Black Lives Matters and other things, and I was impressed when our company stood up and said it, right? We're on our third generation of leadership, so our CEO, she's a female, she's the founder's granddaughter. I believe she's in her early 40s, so she has a different perspective on things, right? So they started being more intentional about who we got involved with, right? The company always did a lot of things with philanthropy, right? But they never, I shouldn't say never, we didn't look into it to see who really got the stuff. Like if you dealt with, say, the United Way, and you said they're a great organization, they spread their money across all these people who have economic deficits, educational deficits, things like that. But we didn't get granular to say, of those people, how many of them are African American, right? How many of them are minorities? How many of them are female? We just knew we fed 1 million people, and we felt pretty good about that. And so now that everyone's aware of equity, right, and knowing that equity means trying to make sure everyone gets their fair share of whatever the commodity is that we're sharing, we started to pick things up. Well, I think we're heavily involved with this organization in Southern California. We're picking up in Atlanta. We're picking the movement up, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
No, that's not, I mean, that's just wonderful. And that's great to hear, John. And you mentioned economic empowerment. Of course, that's a big staple for NCBW. How can you work with NCBW when it comes to economic empowerment?
Absolutely.
Make it effective.
Absolutely. Part of it is doing things like we're doing this weekend, helping people better use resources. Right? I think that there's nothing wrong with black women. They're not broken. We just need to continue to refine and evolve. The system is what's broken. The system is what needs to get fixed. We just need to enhance and pick up some better practices. So teaching people how to communicate, do things a little differently. From my perspective, I'm a vice president, general manager, so I sit on a high chair. So I get a chance to see what leadership is looking for in applicants. I get a chance to be in the room and hear how they discuss what's of value in the way someone presents their thoughts, right? What they stand for. And so now I could share that. And it's a beautiful thing because we didn't have the representation as people in the higher level positions to be able to have this vantage point. And I think I have an obligation to share that.
Right.
And because at the end of the day, for me personally, it's not just about, okay, did you make your money? Did you get your kids in college, right? Yeah, you did all that you're supposed to. But what did you do for people, right? What did you do for people? And, being involved with organizations like this gives us a chance to say, this is what I did for people.
Right.
If 1 or 2 or 3 or however many women in the audience out there can benefit from what they heard me say, then I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And so I'm excited about that.
And I'm really glad to hear that, or happy to hear that, John. We just had a discussion not too long ago. We were talking about paying it forward. And I think that is so important that you pay it forward, especially black folks.
Absolutely.
And we don't do enough of that. And let's touch on diversity and inclusion, because that's another big staple for NCBW. How can your company, people, they'll have diversity and equity or inclusion divisions, but what are they doing within those divisions to pay it forward, if you will? How can enterprise play a role?
One of the things we are doing right now, we've got this campaign or initiative. I don't like to call it a campaign or initiative because to me that seems to limit the scope of it. Like, it's going to be here for a time, right? It should be a way of life. It should be a core value, right? But one of the things we're doing, we have this program, it's called The Road Forward, and it's about respect, opportunity, achievement, and diversity. And so the company now is more intentional about who we give finances to. The company's more intentional about who we give and support as far as actions, because there's things you could do that aren't a stroke of a check. You can go volunteer in a neighborhood. You could clean up a neighbor. You could teach people to read. You could teach better social skills, things like that. So we're doing things like that more and more and more. Our company gives everybody a paid day off now to go do something for your community, whatever that might be. If it's painting your neighbor's house, if it's doing something for your church, it's whatever you want to do, and the company will pay you for that, and that's not part of your vacation time. They match what we donate to the United Way. I'm on a global diversity team, and it's interesting because I'm on this team that's above my direct report, right? And so I'm in there helping the team come up with long-term strategy to continue to get better with diversity. We've gotten better as the years have gone by, but we're not where we need to be. And I think our company is sincere about the desire to move forward. I'm getting a chance to speak candidly about my experiences as a black man, trying to make it up in corporate America, whether it's interview feedback, whether it's helping them understand how it feels to be the only one like you in the room, right? Whether it's about how you feel when you have an ambition and you want to go a certain place. And typically, we judge our ability to get to a certain place by whether or not we see someone like us there, right? Mm-hmm. So you want to get there, and then you look up, and no one's there like you. Mm-hmm. And so you ask yourself, right, is that the plan, or what is it? So we get a chance to speak and share, and they just become more aware. A lot of this stuff is just due to lack of awareness, and now they're aware. And time will tell what we do, but we ask more questions now we didn't used to. We ask about diversity. So let's talk about what you're doing at work, right? Let's talk about your promotions. Now let's ask how many female have this operate in this space? How many minorities operate in this space, right? Do you have plans to get more females, more minorities in this space? And I think that's a great place for us to be. It's working.
Yeah, I like it. And the fact that you said they are making the push, it's not just talk. They are making the push. That's good to hear.
It's an absolute imperative. We talk about it all the time. And all these things matter when it's top down, right? If the people at the top, aren't committed to it, then it's less likely to be successful. And we're fortunate enough to be in an organization where the top down is committed to it.
Good.
Taylors are a very, very, very strong family.
Good.